Well, hello everyone. Hope all is well with everyone. Chef Jazzy John back once again. So today we're going to take a little trip to Italy. Today we're going to be doing a dish called chicken marsala. And chicken marsala is a dish that's made with boneless, skinless chicken breast, and then with a marsala wine and a heavy whipping cream. And chicken marsala basically takes 3 steps. First we prepare the chicken, and then we prepare the mushrooms, which is also part of chicken marsala, and then we prepare the marsala sauce, which is made with a marsala wine and heavy whipping cream. So as usual, let's get started. I have everything measured out for you. Let's go step by step. So first of all, I've used 2 chicken breasts. And basically what you're gonna do with your chicken breast, where you always trim the fat. And then you take your chicken breast, make sure y'all can see me, and you're gonna slice it, especially if you have a thick piece of chicken. You're gonna slice it horizontally like this and get 2 thin pieces. So today I'm gonna use 2 chicken breasts, 2 nice chicken breasts, so we'll have 4 nice pieces. I have more of that in there, but we're gonna just work with 2 for now. So you trim all the fat and all the goody stuff off of it. And then once again, you take your knife, a nice sharp knife, and you turn it this way. Now like this particular breast, I may get 3 slices out of. So, because you don't want it to be too thick, because actually we're gonna tenderize it, so that's 1 nice slice. You see it's still kind of thick, so we're gonna do 1 more. So we're gonna actually get 3 breasts out of this, 3 fillets out of this 1 breast, I should say. Okay, so as you see, they're really nice. So then what we're gonna do, we lay them on our cutting board, and you can take either, well, I'm going to use some aluminum foil, or you can use some saran wrap or parchment paper, whatever is your preference. And we're going to bam these out. We're going to mallet them, like hammer them down to a 1/4 inch. And the purpose of doing this is basically you break the muscles in the breast, and that's what makes it so tender. When you have those chicken breasts at the restaurants, and it's real tender, so that's what they've done. They've basically broken down the muscles. So I just use a mallet. Sometimes I use a pot, but I don't want to do that with you all. So here's a nice mallet, and you just kind of go across it, and you hit it down, and you want to get this about 1/4 inch. So you may want to go across it. I usually go across about 2 or 3 times to make sure that I have all of it. And this is what basically tenderizes your chicken breast. So then we uncover it, and we can see that they look a lot thinner now. They're basically about 1/4 inch. If they're not thin enough for you, can hit them a little bit more, but you don't want to over tenderize them or over mallet them, because then they'll start to fall apart. I'm gonna hit this just a little bit more right here. And I see a little fat piece. So then what you do after this, you take it to the sink, and what I normally do, actually I've already cleaned these. So basically right now we can go ahead on and season them. So you hit paper towel. So basically I usually basically tell you all to salt and pepper to taste. I always use my ground pepper. There's nothing like fresh ground pepper. You don't have to use this much, but it's a whole different flavor when you use the fresh ground pepper. So make sure it's covered well. Salt to taste. Depends on what kind of salt level you prefer. I'm actually using kosher salt, but you can use any kind of salt that you want. So it doesn't take as much. And then I have about a 1/2 teaspoon of oregano that I'm gonna sprinkle all over. And I'm gonna take them all and just mix it together in a minute anyway. So about a 1/2 teaspoon of oregano. And then I have a tablespoon, of Italian seasoning. So I'm gonna turn it over so we can get the other side as well. So then we have about a teaspoon of onion powder. Okay, we're gonna just make sure it's spread out really well. And like I said, we're gonna flip it all over, and then I have a teaspoon of garlic powder. Okay, because that's part of the Italian seasoning. So basically, I'm gonna take them, and if that's enough for you, that's fine. Sometimes I do a little bit more, especially with the Italian seasoning. So I'm gonna kind of flip them over and add the rest of the Italian seasoning to it. Okay, because you want that, and then some more onion powder and garlic powder to the rest of it. Okay, and especially your garlic powder. And then we'll also see that there'll be garlic powder in the sauce as well. So I season up really, really well. So next, so that's basically what you do with the chicken part. So just, and please don't forget to wash your chicken. You can do it before you slice it or after. Okay. So basically what I've done already, I actually have prepared some just for the sake of time. So let me go to the oven. And they come out like this. Now let me get my tongs. Okay. So with this, I did same two pieces, but I only came out with 2 chicken breasts, 2 fillets. So there we go. And you want a nice little char and stuff on it. And you see it has a nice little sauce in there. So our next step is we're going to go to the stove and start preparing the sauces and all that. So okay guys, we're now at the stove. One thing I did not tell you is when you cook your chicken, you'll be using 1 tablespoon of butter and 2 tablespoons of oil, preferably olive oil, but it really doesn't matter. So that's the first thing when you prepare your chicken breast. You have to cook it in this. The butter gives it a nice browning, and of course the oil just helps it cook, okay? Okay, so now for the mushrooms, we're gonna use 1 tablespoon of butter. I'm gonna just let it start melting. And also, the juice that the chicken made, you wanna pour that in the skillet. Because basically what you're gonna do when you prepare this dish, you're basically gonna cook your chicken and just take it out and sit it to the side so you have that juice already in the skillet. And then you can add that tablespoon of butter. So we're gonna get this butter to melting. And once again, this is 8 ounces, basically comes in an 8-ounce package of mushrooms. These are button mushrooms. And make sure that you rinse them off really, really well. So I'm gonna pour them all in there with this stick of butter, with this tablespoon of butter. And we're gonna just let them let the butter melt, and we're gonna just start switching them around so they get coated. And then basically what I do once they start to get coated, and once it gets heated up real well, I'm going to add in the flour. And what the flour is going to do is make a thickening agent so that we put all the other liquids together to make a nice thick sauce for you guys. I really enjoy chicken marsala. It's really, really good. It's pretty rich with the heavy whipping cream, but it's wonderful. And it's something out of the ordinary that we usually have every day. So now I'm going to add in my flour. And this is a cup of flour. I may not need all of it because this is not as many mushrooms as I thought it would be. Well, I did use most of it. Okay, and you're going to just kind of stir that in there. If it seems like you need a little more liquid, you could always add some more butter. Okay, I'm just still trying to let this get hot. Okay, let's turn it up a little bit higher so we can move on. So you're going to just continue to stir your mushrooms up. And basically I always like to use a nice wooden spoon or a spatula. Okay. And as far as the butter or whatever, it's okay to use more because this is a very rich dish. So I'm going to reach back and use some of my other butter that I should use cooking my chicken. So I'm going to just add another tablespoon of butter in it. So that all that flour can melt over. And as you see, the flour is beginning to disappear. So I'm going to go ahead on and add all of it. I had a cup, so we're going to use this whole cup of flour. Okay. Okay, so now Just let them saute a few minutes. Let that butter melt real well. Okay, so now I'm gonna add in my tablespoon of garlic, minced garlic. Now you season the chicken with garlic, so let's make sure we season the sauce with some garlic. You know, Italian foods have a lot of garlic in it. Okay, so now we have that in there. So now what we're gonna do is we add in our Marsala wine. This is 1 cup of Marsala wine. Okay. Now you just kind of like get that going for a minute. Okay. And just kind of let this cook for about 5-10 minutes. Let it reduce a little bit for you, because then that's what helps make it a little thicker, and it helps with the color. How you like it cooked, like I said, about 5 or 10 minutes. Okay, so now you can see you have like a nice thick gravy. So now we're going to add in our 1/2 cup of heavy whipping cream. We're going to pour that in. And sometimes when I do this dish, I may add more Marsala wine. It just kind of depends on the texture, the color. Because I want it to be a little dark, I'm going to add a little more wine to it. Which I believe I'm going to add a little more wine to this. Okay. So as you see, it basically looks like a white gravy. But this is a really rich gravy. So I am going to add a little more wine, just for the color. And actually, it just makes more sauce. Okay. So we let this cook for about 10 minutes. And this is basically the sauce. It's not a complicated dish at all. So we just let that cook. Let those mushrooms and that wine cook a few minutes. Continue to let it cook. And if it gets too thick, questions for you. But you see, a chicken marsala is really nice. So we are back. Our chicken marsala is prepared. It's taste time. One thing I want to change, because I cater, so sometimes I'm so used to making large quantities of food. As a matter of fact, this past weekend, I actually did chicken marsala for 100 people, which means I had 200 chicken breasts. So the one thing, put in your notes, the one thing I want to change is use 1/3 cup of flour, because I felt like it was a little bit thicker than I would like it to be, so I did add more wine. So yes, please make it like 1/3 cup of flour for this size pan with the 2 chicken breasts, which was 4 to 5 chicken fillets. So yeah, I had to do 100 people of chicken marsala this past weekend. So that's 200 chicken breasts I had to make. So sometimes it's kind of hard for me to adjust my bearings. So anyway, let's take a taste. So I did some fresh green beans and some wild rice with my chicken marsala in a nice roll and a nice glass of vino. So as usual, well, once again, you can see the nice brown, the gravy, the sauce, with the mushrooms, smothered mushrooms in it. I have about 1.5 pieces on here. So it should be very nice and tender, which it is. It almost should fall apart. So I actually let it simmer for about 20 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes while I was cleaning up and everything. So chicken marsala with nice mushrooms. And you can add more mushrooms if you like. I wouldn't say don't add any mushrooms. If you don't like mushrooms, I probably wouldn't make this dish. It's absolutely wonderful. Came out perfect. I think we covered everything. I said make sure your chicken breasts are cut thin. Make sure you tenderize them down to 1/4 inch. But just make sure they're nice and thin. It shouldn't take them longer than 6 minutes to cook. Turn them over like every 3 minutes. Make sure your temperature is 165 for your chicken breast. Please, everyone, get yourself a food thermometer, a meat thermometer, I should say. because you'd be surprised at how often we overcook our food. So, bon appetit. I'm going to enjoy this. My wild rice. I have plenty of gravy, so if you want to add more gravy onto it, you can. And my fresh green beans. It's falling out of my mouth. It's so good. And as usual, I always have a plate for you, Miss Withers. So until next time, it's Chef Jazzy John doing chicken marsala today. Everyone have a great one. See you next month.